Hey, how's it going, everyone? We're back with our something a little different. We're gonna do each team's weakness. We're gonna go through every team in the NFL, analyze their power ranking, and talk about a big weakness that they have on the team. We're gonna start it as the last team in the NFL right now, the Arizona Cardinals. They are 0-3 right now, 32nd in the power ranking. Not the best spot you want to be. And the big issue with them is they simply cannot move the ball. They only have 571 yards of offense in 3 games right now. That is pitiful. That is the fewest by a team in 3 games since 2006 Raiders. And y'all know what happened to them. Not a very good season. They had 40 yards less than they did, but the Cardinals are just looking pitiful. David Johnson is just not performing where he needs to be. Actually, the Oakland Raiders, they're still feeling the effects from the trade of Khalil Mack. They're just not playing anywhere where they used to be. They had such high expectations with the young franchise with Amari Cooper, Derek Carr, and a lot of these young guys. And Khalil Mack as well before they traded him to the Bears. It was looking up for them until the recent years. So yeah, they're doing great in the third quarter. They have not taken a snap in the 3 games where they've been down in the third quarter. They've been up every time. But in the fourth quarter, look at this margin. That is insane. The other team has scored 37 points in the fourth quarter. They have only scored a field goal. That is ridiculous. The worst margin in the NFL by far. And the Jaguars, worse since them. 2014 Jaguars had 13-3 that season, so it's not looking good for the Raiders. It's going to be a tough season for the Raiders. And next we're going to go to the Buffalo Bills. Surprising win against the Vikings. The Vikings are one of the best teams in the league, but they beat them. So a lot of 3-and-outs for this Bills team. 54%. 54%. That is ridiculous going out, having a 3-and-out that many. There's not scoring the ball enough, but if they play how they did against the Vikings, they will be good. They will be a good NFL team in the upcoming weeks. And their quarterbacks, they've had a lot of different quarterbacks playing up there. But NFL low 50%. That is abysmal for that passing team. LaShawn McCoy is not even sure if he's going to play. Next, we have the Texans, and Deshaun Watson has been pressured on 44% of his dropbacks. It's the highest rate in the league, and their offensive line has been terrible. And they also have the lowest amount of dropbacks, 43%, lowest in the NFL. Next, we have the Giants, and sacks could be a part of both sides of the ball, definitely for them. They have some of the fewest sacks in the league, and they're getting sacked the most of the time. 3.8%, just ridiculous, one of the highest in the NFL. Next, we have the Jets, who are 1-2, and Sam Darnold, highest interception rate this season. Not looking good for the rookie. Already has intercepted on 5.4% of passes, so it's not what you want to see from the young rookie. And also, 49ers. I'm going to just ignore that one. I'm just going to talk about the injuries that they have suffered. Jimmy Garoppolo after the season. Richard Sherman going to miss some time. A couple other players on the offensive and defensive side of the ball going to be out, missing some time. Everyone thought Jimmy Garoppolo was going to lead them back to the playoffs this year. Not looking good with him out for the season. And I don't know. I don't even remember who's the starting quarterback going to be, but it's not a big name, so it's going to be rough for them in the upcoming weeks. Next, we have the Detroit Lions. Very big win against the Patriots, one of the 1-2. Big win for the Patriots. Going to knock them up a couple points in the power ranking. But they have some of the worst rush yards in the league. And this is not looking good for their defense and allowing the rush. But they do have the best pass defense in the league at 152 yards per game. That is looking great for that defense. A lot of people are sleeping on them in the NFC, but they can make some moves. That's the Colts, and they just do not trust Andrew Luck's ability to throw the deep ball. On the last play of the game on the Hail Mary, the final play in Week 3, they actually brought in Jacoby Brissett to throw that ball. That is just ridiculous. You need your starting quarterback to make that throw, not the backup. That is just a big culture problem right there. Next, you have the Browns, who actually have a win this year. And they are blitzing a lot in the NFL season right now. 41%, highest in the league. But they have their defense is allowing the 7th highest pass completion at 67%, and the second lowest. But they have the second lowest completion percentage when they don't blitz, so you might want to have to change something up there. Next, we have the Cowboys, and Dak Prescott is averaging 4.5 yards per dropback, which is one of the best actually in the league. But his QBR 35.8, ridiculously low, and his QBR for the first game It was literally 40 points higher. And that is just ridiculous. He needs to be playing a lot better. Next, the Seattle Seahawks. They have not been able to run the ball. They spent the first round pick. They drafted Rashad Penny, hoping he would do it, but actually he has the worst yards per game at 2.2. You just cannot have your running back getting 2.2 yards per carry, and they're last as run yards as a team at that 3.3 mark. The running the ball is not good for the Seahawks. Next, you have the Tennessee Titans, and the Titans have scored on just 3 of their 32 drives this year. You know, they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, huge win for them. But they have failed to score a touchdown on their last 18 drives. Ridiculous. Only 9% of the time they score a touchdown. You need better offense. They're 2-1 right now. They have a potential playoff spot too in the weak NFC. So if they play better, scoring more drives, they have a pretty good shot. Next is the Washington Redskins. And the Redskins receivers have not been doing well. They have the lowest in receptions, only 23 receptions and only 76 yards after catch. 14 first down catches, just no good, no positive news there for the receivers in Washington with Alex Smith throwing the ball. They didn't have the big win against Green Bay, so hopefully they can turn things around. Next, the Bears. Bears have surprised a lot of people, especially with that Khalil Mack trade. But their defense has been playing well, but the offense, look at it, 29th in touchdowns per drive, and only 12% after the Titans. And they're 27th in red zone efficiency. They're not scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Not looking good for that team. Next, you have the Denver Broncos. Their running backs have been playing really well, emerging as stars already, but their defense not looking good. Only 26% of the time they get pressure on the quarterback with a blitz. It's ridiculous. A third lowest rate in the NFL. Their blitz has just only generated 1 sack. 1 sack. You need to be getting more sacks. You know, you have Von Miller, Derek Wolfe, a lot of good players on that defense. You got to get to the quarterback. And next, we have the Los Angeles Chargers sitting at the halfway point, number 16, and their defense allows 8.9 yards per pass attempt. Second worst in the NFL after the Saints, who have not a very good defense. But not very good for them. But they have played Patrick Mahomes and Jared Goff, who's had big games. They played them, but you just cannot allow 8.9 passing yards in the NFL and expect to be winning games. Next, you have the Baltimore Ravens, and they're only averaging 3.1 yards per rush, 31st in the NFL after the Seahawks. And that is terrible for them. They need to be running the ball more. They have Javorius Allen, Alex Collins, a lot of good running backs, and they got to get the ball in their hands if they want to be able to do better in the season. Next, you have the Cincinnati Bengals, actually looking at 2-1. They're not getting the ball to John Ross. He has the record for the fastest 40-yard dash in the history of the NFL at that 4.2. I think it was 4.20, maybe 4.21, 4.3. It was Chris Johnson had a 4.2. I think it was a 4.22. He had a 4.22, and he's 5 for 13 targeting him. But the big thing, 2 interceptions when targeting him. He only has 27 yards on 5 catches and a touchdown. Not looking good for the young fella. But the Buccaneers are next, but Ryan Fitzmagic is playing well, but last game they came up a little short. He had 411 yards in that loss. He almost came back, but their defense, 412 passing yards allowed per game, and that is terrible. You cannot. I know last night they only gave up 335 against Antonio Brown and Big Ben, but you have to be playing better defense to be able to win football games. This last night was not a good show of that. Next thing, they got Falcons. I'm looking at 1-2, but their defense, they have a lot of injuries. Ricardo Allen, Keanu Neal, both out for the season. But their defense, 31st in yards per rush, 5.2. 2 yards, that's first down. Ridiculous. And also, they have some of the least first downs. 31st in the league in getting first downs. And their third down conversion rate isn't much better. 48.8. Not looking good. And they have the least amount of sacks on a 3.9 on opponents' dropbacks, so you got to get to the quarterback a lot faster than they have been. Next, they have the Panthers. Panthers looking pretty promising, but their opponents, every time the opponent has gotten into the red zone against the Panthers, they scored a touchdown. 7 out of 7 for them. You got to play better red zone defense to be able to win games. Next, they have the Packers into that 1-1-1. Actually, every team that has a tie is 1-1-1. There are 4 teams right now with that 1-1-1. And Aaron Rodgers has been playing hurt. He had that big injury, but he's still playing football. And he's only 3 of 12 when he's passing outside of the pocket. 33% of passes, 6 of 18. Not looking good So you got to keep him in the pocket or to get him some better receivers to throw to. As the Packers have a good team with Aaron Rodgers leading the helm, but their defense and offense needs to both step up to the plate if they want to win football games. Next, you have the Vikings at 11-11-11. I know Dalvin Cook wasn't active against them, but you lose to the Bills, one of the worst teams in the NFL. They only ran the ball 6 times. This is tied for the fewest rush attempts in NFL history. Shocking. You thought they are throwing the ball so much. Kirk Cousins had was airing out the ball, but it just wasn't working. You just get blown out by the Bills. Ridiculous. So that happened to them. But you got to run the ball more. If it's not working for you, like right there. All right, next you have the Miami Dolphins. Well, actually looking at 3-0, they have a tough task against the Patriots, but they have the 3rd lowest possession time per game, like 26 minutes in 3 games. That's like what people average per game, and that is just ridiculous. Average per game. And all right, next we're going to move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, another 1-1-1 team, along with the Browns, Vikings, and Packers. But they've been penalized 12 times every game. 37 penalties in total. Next closest. They're over 9 penalties more. You got to be more disciplined to win football games than that. And then Patriots, not looking good for them. But, Edelman's out along with Gordon. But when they get back, hopefully it'll improve. But only one 30-yard reception by Gronk in week 1. They're 31st in wide receiver receiving yards. The Redskins are last, but you gotta get the ball to receivers. Not many people to throw to, but hopefully it'll improve when Josh Gordon and Edelman come back. Finally, we have the New Orleans Saints, just looking at 2-1, pretty good, but they have allowed 9 plays of at least 30 yards and a touchdown pass. That is terrible. They have 5 of those with the touchdowns, and the Saints gave up 4 such touchdown passes like that last year, and they already eclipsed that in 3 games, so their defense needs a step up. And the Jaguars is an embarrassing loss, losing to the Titans, and they just got to do better in the red zone, just not doing good. They have made 5 thanks to the red zone, and they're just not scoring well. And they're only scoring on 29% of their drives, or 30% of their drives, and just not looking good for them. Next, we have the.
Hey, don't let him in.
We have the reigning Super Bowl champions, Eagles, just not doing good. They're only 28.6% of the time they're scoring a field goal or touchdown. 25th in the NFL, not good for the former Super Bowl champions.
What does that mean? We're all dropping it, right?
Kansas City Chiefs looking at 3-0 right now. They are allowing 474 passing yards per game, which is terrible. Their defense needs to improve, but the way Patrick Mahomes has been playing, they're looking pretty good. And at number 1, the Los Angeles Rams. They have taken some big injury tolls with Marcus Peters and Akeem Talib going to be out for a while, so we're going to see if their backup cornerbacks can step up to the level that they've been playing at. But despite having Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh, they're allowing 5 yards per rush this season. It's ridiculous. 27 yards in the NFL. With 2 elite stars like that, no way you should be allowing that many yards per rush. And that's gonna be the end of the video this week. So kind of long video, but we'll bring you the picks later. I'm gonna be signing off. So thank you, everybody.